Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here. Welcome to Snowflake Viewpoint episode 96. As you can probably tell, back to my sicky self again, guys, I'm afraid to say. I got five stories, but would be lucky to get through two with the state I'm in, guys. So just as a warning again, if I'm a bit too low, please if you can turn up your volumes, would be great. If not, it's fine, but I can't raise my voice anymore to do, otherwise I will go on a massive coughing spree. So yeah, it's back, basically, the cough. I don't think it actually left, if I'm honest, guys. It never left. I always had it, but the doctors have said that there's nothing wrong with me. Well, I have a very hard time believing that, because, you know, I used to be able to go to wrestling shows and be fine with my voice. And last night I went to a wrestling show, and I was very mute with my voice. I wasn't that loud all the time. I was very mute. But even so, my voice is banged up, which is really, really sad, because it's holding me back, guys. So, before we get into it, I just want to let you know the plan. So, I do have a live stream planned tomorrow morning. It depends how. I'm going to be taking night nurse tonight. It may fix it, because the last time I took night nurse, it really did help with my coughs. So hopefully, I will wake up and it won't be so bad. But that's hopefully. We'll just have to take it as things go, guys. Really, this week, there won't be no Rumble or Patreon free content, and there will be no long videos either. Unless some miracle my voice comes back completely, or this chesty cough completely goes away. I don't know what that is, Martin. I lost my train of thought now. I have recorded short videos at least. They have been doing well lately on the channel, as well as on TikTok. So they're pretty easy for me to record, even with a banged up voice, because I was able to do them before, and I can do them again. So they're not a problem, guys. But yeah, long format is going to be a problem. Whether or not I'm going to be doing more live streams after this, we'll have to be wait and see, really. I will say, luckily, there's no Prime Minister's questions, so that's a good sign. But this, the fact that I've got this right now is, it's really demoralising for me right now, guys. It's really demoralising, because the doctors are telling me there's nothing wrong with me, and I know there's something wrong with me. And I've been taking everything, and today I've literally been I've toned down the amount of medicines and stuff that I was taking, because I felt I was getting better, and now I need to take everything again, and I just feel like I'm going around in circles. So I honestly don't know what to do, guys. I really don't know what to do. I suppose I'll have to do my own research, because clearly the doctors are telling me there's nothing wrong with me. But as you guys know, you know your own body better than anyone, and if you think there's something wrong with your body, you should get help for it. I know there's something wrong with me, because I should not have had this chesty cough for as long as it has. So anyways, let's apologies. Right, I want to talk a little bit about this first story here. This one, I have done it as a short, but I wanted to cover it anyway. Is this link, or is this okay? Yeah, I wanted to talk about this one anyway. I'm probably not going to read the whole thing, but I did want to talk about it with you guys. So from the BBC, that two MPs are being astounded after being denied entry to Israel. The two Labour MPs said they were astonished to have been denied entry to Israel while on a trip to visit the occupied West Bank. Now, obviously, this is quite. This is getting to a point where basically, unless you are proper pro-Israeli, whether you're a government minister or not, it sounds like to me the Israeli government are not willing to take any kind of sympathizers whatsoever towards Palestinian people, or people in the Gaza, people in the West Bank. They're going to try, basically, if they try to come to Israel and show any kind of sympathy, or you have any connections to people there, they're going to make it difficult. And that's kind of the impression that I've got with this here. I think it's I mean, the fact that these are two MPs as well, Labour MPs from the representatives, they are part of the Labour. They're not in the inner circle, shall we say, but still, the fact that they were denied entry is pretty shocking. I admire David Lammy coming out in the way he did over this situation. I did see today the government has backed David Lammy's comments as well, quite strongly on this as well, which is a good sign. Yeah, sorry, I can't say hello to everyone because I'm trying to recoup my voice, but I appreciate you all being here, I really do. But yeah, it's just the signs of things to come. Basically, if you come to Israel and you're like pro-Palestine or in any way, shape or form, you're not going to be given a very nice welcome here, basically. If you have history of supporting them or by tweets and social media and whatnot, yeah, you're not going to have a very nice welcome, or you may be detained and sent back because they can basically say, well, you've been saying bad things about Israel, or saying something about Palestine, good things about Palestinians or whatever, and they'll just say, oh, it's connected to Hamas in some way, shape or form. Like I said, if my volume is a bit low, you just have to turn the mic up on your side, guys. Hopefully the live stream my voice won't be too low with the recording. I really hope not. So Abstein, Mohammed and Yang Ying said it was vital parliamentarians were able to witness the situation in the occupied West Bank territory firsthand. They were refused entry because they intended to spread hate speech against Israel, the nation's population immigration authority said. See, this is the thing that Israel can do. They can make up anything they want, and no one's going to do anything about it. That's the problem here. Dave McGuinness, good to see you. Oh, excuse me. I do apologise. I'm not well. My chesty cough has come back. I've been too busy trying to sort myself out to be able to attend your shows today, so I do apologise. I will try to make tomorrow's show if I can tomorrow. But I hope you had good shows, my friend. If someone put a link to his channel, would be greatly appreciated. Like I said, guys, it's going to be a short live stream. The Foreign Secretary David Lammy criticised Israeli authorities, describing the move as unacceptable, counterproductive, and deeply concerning. This really I'm really unhappy about this. Conservative leader Kemi Baganot said Israel had a right to control its borders, adding it was significant that there were Labour MPs other countries did not want to let in. The context here is it's not about the right. Like, nobody's saying that Israel doesn't have a right to control its borders, just like any other country. The context is that they're accusing. The context is that the immigration center in Israel are accusing these politicians of spreading hate speech, and they're politicians. I mean, it's one thing if it's just an ordinary person who's not a politician that's traveling or whatever. It's one thing to be denied entry on that, but it's another when we're talking about British politicians, part of a political party that is literally in charge of the government of the United Kingdom. This is nothing to do with Israel having the rights and here and there. This is them blatantly disregarding 2 MPs that they consider who are favourable towards Palestinian people. That's essentially it. I don't think Kerry helped the situation at all. It was interesting. I think another Conservative MP wasn't on the same page with Kerry on that as well. I think a couple of Conservatives are not so keen on it either there. So Yang, the MP for Early and Woodley, and Mohammed, the MP for Sheffield Central, flew to Israel from London Luton Airport with the 2 aides on Saturday afternoon. The Israeli Immigration Authority said Interior Minister Moshe Abdel denied entry to all 4 passengers after they were questioned. It accused them of travelling to document the security forces. Again, based on what information do they have on that? The Israeli embassy in London said in a statement on Sunday that the country will not allow the entry of individuals or entities that act against the state and its civilians. Basically, it's essentially saying, again, if you have any kind of solidarity towards Palestinian people, if you have any history in that regard, you will not be allowed into the country, basically, because you're considered a threat to the country, which is their excuse. He said Mahmoud and Yang had accused Israel of false claims and were actively involved in promoting sanctions against Israeli ministers. Yeah, see, because they've said things in Parliament like Netanyahu should face his international arrest warrant, and among other things. But yeah, it also said they had supported campaigns aimed at boycotting the country at a time when Israel is at war and under attack on 7 fronts. The UK's Foreign Office said the group was part of a parliamentary delegation. However, Israel's Immigration Authority said the delegation had not been acknowledged by an Israeli official. That cannot be true. That cannot be true. Literally, the Israeli embassy said the MPs were offered hotel accommodation, which they declined. Okay. And the cost of their return flight to the UK was covered. Israel's Interior Minister said the MPs left the country early on Sunday. Mohammed and Yang said their trip had been organised with UK charities that had over a decade of experience in taking parliamentary delegations. We are two out of scores of MPs who have spoken out in Parliament in recent months of the Israeli-Palestine conflict and the importance of the complying with international humanitarian law, the MP said in a joint statement. Parliamentarians should be free to speak truthful in the House of Commons without fear of being targeted. Well, that's exactly what happened to them. Lamy said the Foreign Office had been in touch with both MPs to offer support, adding, "I've made it clear to my counterparts in the Israeli government this is absolutely no way to treat British parliamentarians." The Council for Arab-British Understanding and Medical Aid for Palestinians, the latter of which is a registered UK charity, said in a joint statement that they had organised a trip. This visit was part of a long-standing programme, they said. When questioned, the group was clear, open and transparent about its aims and objectives of the visit, which included visiting a range of projects run by humanitarian and development organisations operating in the West Bank. The group had informed the UK's Consul General in Jerusalem of their visit and were planning to meet with them as part of their enlisty. So they're claiming that they already that they told them. So the story. So they didn't tell. So was the government aware that they were coming? I think that's a good question. I suppose that's a good question. Hello, Simon. Good to see you there. Sorry, as I said, guys, at the start, got a really bad chesty cough, so my voice is going to be a lot lower. And like I said, this ain't going to be a long stream. I'd do well to get to an hour without going on a coughing spree. Both Yang and Mohammed, who were both selected in 2024, have made several interventions on the Israel-Hamas conflict in Parliament. In February, Mohammed initiated a cross-party letter signed by 61 MPs and Lords calling for a ban on goods from Israeli settlements on Palestinian territory, citing an opinion from the International Court of Justice. Yeah, yeah, of course they were going to target him if you did say that. She has also criticised Israel for withholding humanitarian aid from Gaza. Telling the House of Commons in October that international law prohibits the starvation of civilians as a method of warfare, and has mentioned the humanitarian organisation claims of ethnic cleansing in Gaza. In January, Yang spoke in favour of bringing sanctions against Israeli ministers Ishmael Ben-Gvir and Bashmal Smotrich. Yeah, both nasty people. They are really nasty. After they suggested building Israeli settlements in northern Gaza to encourage Palestinians to leave. Yeah, of course they would want to do that. She has also highlighted the dangerous conditions journalists and medical professionals face whilst in the Palestinian territory. When asked about Israel's decision, Conservative leader Kemi Bakkenot told the BBC on Sunday with Laura Queensberg that countries should be able to control their borders. Yeah, we read that already. Yeah, we already read that already. Don't know why they put that in there again. Her comments were rebuffed by Emery Thornberry, the Labour chair of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, who described Yang and Mohammed as highly respected parliamentarians and potential leaders. Israel was badly advised to try and alienate them, to humiliate them and to treat them this way, she told the programme. I think it is an insult to Britain, and I think it's an insult to Parliament. Sir Ed Davies accused Baganout of yet another complete shocker. Well, that's not a surprise. He said that she once again showed unbelievable poor judgment by failing to back two British MPs denied entry to Israel. No, she has to stay for her, in her mindset, right? Her mindset is, I can't be on the side of government on this. I can't be. I have to be completely pro-Israel no matter what. I have to be as close as I can to make Trump happy. I'm just speculating there, really, to be fair. Lammy called Baganot's comments disgraceful, asking her, do you say the same about Tory MPs banned from China? Answers on a postcard, please. During the war in Gaza, there have been protests, violent incidents and raids by Israeli forces in the West Bank. Hundreds of deaths have been reported there. Israeli troops have been engaged in an extended operation in the occupied Palestinian territory, where 2 Palestinians were killed on Friday. And, yeah, we know about all that. The UK government focus remains securing on returning of the ceasefire, and stopping the bloodshed, freed hostages, and the conflict in Gaza, It's still very. It's an interesting situation. I wonder. I think maybe Israel were kind of hoping that they would throw them under the bus, and I guess they didn't. Maybe Israel were kind of hoping that Britain's loyalty to Israel, because we know that Starmer's kind of in the pocket. We're kind of hoping that they would throw them under the bus, but they haven't. The government hasn't done that. They firmly backed David Lammy's comments, and I think it's a good sign to show that, considering this, on a global stage, the UK government has been pretty solid on a lot of things. Obviously, how they've conducted themselves with Israel has been nothing short of terrible. But I have to say, on this occasion, I think they've. I mean, obviously, it'd be nice if we could slam them for a lot more, but at least they're calling this out as wrong in every way, shape or form. But I think it's basically the message is, if they want to send Labour MPs, politicians to Israel, they have to be pro-Israeli and not have a back history that they have, unfortunately. I know it's not right, but I think that's the situation, I'm afraid. I sound hoarse, says Simon, says 55. Yeah, I do, my friend. Yeah, I do. Yeah, gotta be careful with the voice, guys. Gotta be careful with the voice. Right. Like I said, it's going to be a slow one, so I do apologise. Wow, we already got 24 minutes. That's crazy. I thought we would do well to get to 30 minutes. Well, so far so good. Anyway, let's talk about this interesting one from The Guardian, you guys. So, the UK Home Office loses an attempt to keep a legal battle with Apple secret. So, judges rejected the Home Office attempt to withhold from the public details of a case concerning access of Apple users' data. Oh dear. Why is the government trying to get access to Apple's data here? Like, I don't understand why they're so keen on this. Like the okay, I can understand from a I can understand from a criminal point of view, maybe. If there's like trying to go after certain excuse me guys, I've been drinking, so I do apologize. I mean water, of course. I mean, I understand from a criminal point of view, crime point of view, like catching criminals and trying to have all the data that they need to help themselves. I understand that, but I just think this is just too far. I get that these companies have too much power. I don't like, obviously, that they they have made it explicitly clear, and Apple have made it clear that they don't hold the data either, and it's only the users who do as well, which I think is an important aspect to add there as well. Just give me a second. Oh, anyway, let's have a read into this, you guys. So the UK has lost an attempt to keep the details of a legal battle with Apple away from the public. The investigatory powers tribunal, which investigates whether the domestic intelligence service have acted unlawfully, on Monday rejected a bid by the Home Office to withdraw from the public the bare details of the case. Why were they also trying to hide this? That's a question I have. A judgment from the Lord Justice C, President of the Investigative Powers Tribunal, and Mr. Justice Johnson on Monday confirmed that some details of the case for the first time. They confirmed that the case relates to a legal challenge brought against the Home Office by Apple over the power to make technical capability notices under the Investigatory Powers Act. Interesting. So according to the judgment, the Home Office argued that revealing the existence of the claim, as well as the names of the parties involved, would be damaging to national security. He said, "We do not accept that the revelation of the bare details of the case would be damaging to the public interest or prejudicial to national security," said the judges. The Guardian and other media organisations have reported that the Home Office had served Apple with a technical capability notice, that's TCN, in which the government demanded access to Apple's Advanced Data Protection Service, which heavily encrypts personal data stored remotely in its servers. Apple has pulled ADP from the UK rather than comply with the notice, saying it would never build a backdoor to its products or services. Sy and Johnson said that neither Apple nor the Home Office had confirmed or denied the accuracy of reports around the TCN and its contents. Okay, so this is not 100% confirmed. This judgment should not be taken as an indication that the media reporting is or is not accurate, the judges added. The details of the TCN remains unknown. Journalists were not allowed into a hearing last month related to the case. Multiple media organisations, including The Guardian, the FT, the BBC and the PA News Agency, asked the tribunal to confirm who was taking part in the hearing on March the 14th and for it to sit in public. Neither journalists nor legal representatives on behalf of the media were allowed into the hearing, and the identities of the parties involved were not disclosed before the hearing. The judges added that it could be possible for some or all future hearings to incorporate a public element, with or without proper restrictions, but that does not rule on the stage in this process. Sorry, 1 second. Damn mucus, I hate having it. Recipients of a TCM cannot reveal the existence of an order unless they are given permission from the Home Secretary. The Tribunal's website states that hearings should be closed to the public only when strictly necessary, but its rules declare that there must be no disclosure of information that is prejudgmental to national security. Rose McKenzie, a data protection partner from the law firm Addy Shaw Goldark, said that despite the ruling, it was highly unlikely there would be any in-depth revelations of the Home Office case for accessing Apple's user data. We may get a skeletal decision similar to what they have been shared so far, which summarises the rationale without any meaningful details, said McKenzie. A Home Office spokesperson said the department does not comment on legal proceedings. Yep, that's understandable. But added that long-standing and targeted investigative powers had saved lives, prevented incredible serious terrorist plots against the UK, and put dangerous criminals behind bars. The spokesperson said those powers need to be sustained as technology changes. Ironic, since Apple, like all American companies, have built-in backdoors from intelligence in almost all of its products after Signalgate. Sure, we all feel safer, says Zhao. Everyone harass the like button, says Zhao as well. There's a part of me that understands the government's point of position on this, but there's also like the privacy part. That's the part that really worries me when I think about this story here, guys. Sorry, 1 second. That's the thing that really worries me, is the privacy part. I hope they lose this battle, the government. I just think it's not ideal. It's not ideal. And I think also I saw in another piece that they upset a lot of US senators as well. I know it's an American company. I know it's I get why I understand why the government's point of view of this, but I just think this is a battle that they can't win. And the justifications aren't I don't think so are good are enough on this either. But we'll have to wait and see the outcome. I don't think the government have got this one at all, guys. Well, I've done all right so far. I've made it over half an hour. That's pretty impressive, considering my state. Let's have a little talk about the tariffs, guys. So, Sir Keir Starmer promises bold changes to rules over electric cars in the wake of Trump's tariffs. This is from Sky News. The Prime Minister confirmed a 2030 ban on the sales of new petrol and diesel cars, but announced changes to the regulations to help firms transition. Well, that's a good sign, obviously. They're still sticking ahead with the 2030 ban there. Now, as far as tariffs are concerned, there is a slight possibility that I did see one story. Apparently, Trump is actually being pressured within his administration to U-turn, or well, not U-turn, but to hold off on them, to delay it. And that response actually triggered a response in the markets, which was quite quite interesting to say the least on that one. So that was quite interesting. But in terms of this, it's not going to, in my view, do a lot here. The industry is still going to get hurt one way or another by the tariffs that Trump is imposing. When it comes to manufacturing for us, we are still going to suffer as a result. I still think we will on it. So we'll have to see how this goes. I honestly don't think this, like, unless we have better trading agreements with the European Union, I just think the things are only getting exacerbated. I think you know the word I'm trying to say. With the being outside the European Union because of Brexit, and also because of these tariffs that are coming in as well. So it's only making it more harder for people within the industry. That is for sure. So Sir Keir Starmer has promised bold changes as he announced he will relax rules around electric vehicles after car makers were hit by Donald Trump's tariffs. The Prime Minister said global trade is being transformed after the US President's 25% levy on imported cars and a 10% tariff on other products came into force. Jaguar's Land Rover has said the firm will pause shipment to the US as it looks to address the new trading terms. Labour has made a manifesto pledge to restore a 2030 ban on the sale of new petrol and diesel cars after it had been rolled back to 2035 by Rishi Sunak's Conservative government. Sakir will officially confirm the ban in an announcement on Monday, but regulations around manufacturing targets on electric cars and vans will be altered to help firms into the transition. Luxury supercar firms such as Aston Martin and McLaren will still be allowed to keep producing petrol cars beyond the 2030 date because they only manufacture a small number of vehicles per year. Okay, well, I guess that's okay, I suppose. I maybe they should stop altogether. Maybe they should just stop altogether. Just a reminder for people who are coming in, I've got a really bad chesty cough, so that's why I have to talk low. I said this would be a short live stream, but I've already gone 36 minutes without having a massive coughing spree. So I will be slow, and my voice will be low, guys, so I do want to stress that. So do bear with me, guys, if you do come in today. But I appreciate everyone coming here, I really do. So petrol and diesel vans will also be allowed to be sold until 2035, along with hybrid and plug-in hybrid cars. The government is also going to make it easier for manufacturers who do not comply with the government's zero-emission vehicles, the ZEV mandate, which sets sales targets to avoid fines, and the levies will be reduced. This stuff is definitely helpful. It will help the industry, but at the same time you're slowing down the change as well that we need. So that's one of the downsides of this, though. We're still slowing it down. So I need to keep the just make sure I've got the chat up. Sorry. Sakir said, "I am determined to back British brilliance. Now more than ever, you could actions not words. Don't need to say that." Officials have said support for the car industry will continue to be kept under review as the full impact of the tariff announced last week becomes clear. The Transport Secretary said the proposed changes struck the right balance between cutting emissions and offering business support in the wake of Mr. Trump's tariffs. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree to a certain extent, because I get the frustration about not changing, pushing more towards green, but at the same time, given the current situation, you want to try and protect the businesses that we have at the moment. So I get why the government are doing what they're doing, but yeah, it's because of Donald Trump that we're not pushing ahead quickly enough on this. Speaking to Wilfred Frost on Sky News Breakfast, Mr. Astounded said that the UK would rather not be in this place, and that ministers needed to keep cool heads to stop the trade war escalating. She also denied that the proposed changes were simply tweaks. It is an opportunity for the car industry to remain at the cutting edge of the transition to EVs, but it is right that we're pragmatic, she said. Mike Hawkes, the chief executive of the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders, said the government had recognised the intense pressure manufacturers were under, while Colin Walker, a transport analyst at the Energy and Climate Intelligence Unit, said the ZEV mandate is a global success story in driving a surge in sales of electric vehicles. Excuse me. So some 62% of firms with trade exports to the US are being negatively impacted by Donald Trump's tariffs, according to the British Chambers of Commerce. It has surveyed more than 600 businesses and also found that 32% of firms with trade exposure to the US have said they will increase prices in response. Yeah, because No one is just going to take the hit for their profits, are they? So it makes sense. Survey also found that 41% of firms with no exposure to the USA and said that they would be negatively impacted by the tariffs. You remember what? Remember I said last week about the ripple effect. There we go. I said that even though it's not going direct, even though sometimes something's not directly hitting you, it doesn't mean that something else that's being hit isn't going to come back and hit you as well. There'll always be something there. So some 44% of firms with exposure to the US said the UK should seek to negotiate a closer trading relationship with the US, while 43% said they wanted closer relations with other markets. And just under a quarter, 21%, said they thought the UK should impose regulatory tariffs. The survey also found that 40% of firms considered the 10% tariffs to be better than they had expected. It comes as KPMG warned US tariffs on UK exports could see GDP growth fall from 0.8% in 2025 and 2026. We honestly don't know. So we'll have to wait and see on that, guys. The accounting firm that said higher tariffs on specific... excuse me, apologies. On the specific categories, such as cars, aluminium and steel, would more than offset the exemptions on pharmaceutical exports, leaving the effective tariffs imposed on UK exports at around 12%. Yael Stephens, a chief economics at the KPMG, said given the economic impact that tariffs would cause, there is a strong incentive to seek a negotiated settlement that dismisses the needs for tariffs. The UK's automotive manufacturing sector is particularly exposed given the complex supply chains from some producers. Dear oh dear, I am struggling, but I am getting there, guys. So appreciate you sticking around. I really do. Yeah, the best they can do is mitigate the damage. Is try to mitigate the damage. I get why some people want the UK to respond to the tariffs, and I think right now, Keir Starmer's doing the right thing when it comes to tariffs, and I'm glad that they obviously are taking a keen interest on this industry in this area and saying we've got to do something. We've got to show that we actually do care about them. Whether they can, there's only so much really. The problem is there's only so much that they can do, which is problematic for them. So, yeah, it's frustrating because at the end of the day, these businesses are being hurt, as is so many others. Thousands of businesses across the planet, not just the UK, are being hurt by Donald Trump, and it's no fault of their own. That's one of the worst things, is when there's some things happen that are out of your control, and every business, number one important thing is profit, and they're not going to do anything to jeopardize the profits that they have. So if that means they've got to raise prices, reduce employment, they'll do whatever it takes to keep those profits going. Stephen Morn, good to see you there. Sorry, I haven't said hello to everyone. Hope you're doing well. Trump put the FFS in tariffs. Trump's put done a lot of problematics, that's for sure. Indeed, guys, indeed, lots of problems. So I've got actually. I thought I had 5 stories. I've only got 4. That's fine. I'm sorry if I've not talked enough personally about them. Maybe it's just because I'm worried about how my chesty cough hasn't exploded yet, but I've done a few already, haven't I, to be fair. Right, so let's have a look at this last one, guys, because we've talked about this before. So the DWP tours the UK to consult on disability entitlements changes, how to get involved. So the government will host events from around the country for people to attend and share their views on the overall plans to overhaul sickness and disability entitlements. The word entitlements. We need to make sure to always try and replace that word with entitlements, because it is something that people should be entitled to. Now, I appreciate the government actually consulting with people at certain events This also does scream to me a desperation by the government while trying to avoid bringing in immigration workers, because that would upset the right wing. It does come across to me as a case of desperately trying to make people work who literally cannot work. I still can't see how they would get 5 billion out of the Department of Work and Pensions over the next 5-6 years. Is it by 2030 they said they wanted to cut out? I think that's what they said roughly. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. They're having a laugh. Yeah, the thing is, I've just seen most of these. I mean, I appreciate they're having these events, but I think that what they I just think they're just going to get more grief than anything. You know, if people turn up there and basically say, like, I'm not going to have my benefits anymore because you've changed the PIP system, making it harder for me to claim it. So what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to live? And they keep saying, well, there's other options. There's other, you can access other things. Well, this is one of the things that really infuriates me, that I hear a lot on the right, is they always continuously say that it's so easy to access. And we've heard numerous stories, especially some people here in the chat, as well as other YouTubers, who've had people basically saying what they've had to go through has been nothing short of heartbreak to try to get the entitlements that they need to essentially live, to keep them going. It's been a battle for these people. It really, really has been for Ordinary. But you have here Liz Kendall trying to. It does feel like it's just for show. It does feel like it's just for show as well. A part of me wants to think that this is good, that they're talking to the people, but another part of me feels like the more I think about it, that it's just for show and tell. Let's read this last one. So, members of the public have been invited to attend events from around the country to take part in discussions about the government's plans to reform sickness and disability benefits. The Work and Pension Secretary Liz Kendall announced last month her plans to cut the welfare bill by billions, in part by restricting disability and incapacity benefits. Some of the controversial reforms will be subject to public consultation, offering the chance for people to share their views on a proposal of their implementation. The Labour government has repeatedly promised to involve disabled people in the discussions around how their access to welfare could change. The consultation formally opened on Monday, and it will run for 12 weeks until the 30th of June. That's a long time, so that's plenty of time for people to get involved, with stakeholders and members of the public invited to submit their views on the government's proposals. Ministers said they want to establish a collaboration committee which will bring together groups of people for specific areas to share recommendations with the civil servant. The group will contain policy experts with people with a disability or relevant health condition, the Department of Work and Pensions has said. As part of this process, the government has announced a series of accessible virtual face-to-face events to hear from disabled people and organisations representing them directly. There will be a total of 15 events listed below, located around the country or hosted virtually by the department between the 30th of April and the 24th of June. Those wishing to attend are able to sign up online. Ah, very interesting. So, yeah, even if you can't go to them, you can still sign up to be part of it from your home. Yeah, like I said, it could be just a case of PR, but it may be a case that somebody who, if somebody actually listens to this and actually is like worried and scared about their future and whatnot, they can put those concerns to them. Some of the more controversial changes will be set out by ministers, will not be consulted on because they will require legislation, which means that they will undergo considerable scrutiny by MPs and peers. So plans to change the eligibility of those receiving PIP and reforming assessments for disability and sickness welfare will not be consulted on. Well, that's just fucking stupid. Like that people, the fact that you're not gonna allow them to speak their minds on this specific issue, the most important thing that actually can decide whether or not they get the entitlements or not. The most important part of it, and they're saying here that this option you can't even talk about it, like will not even be consulted on. Like, what's the point? What is the point then? Want to rage, but I can't. So I'm carrying on you, David. Dave McGuinness. The government is seeking public opinions on plans to block access to universal credit health elements to those under the age of 22 years old. Measure ministers hopes will prevent the rise in young people being signed off work for extended periods of time. The government is seeking views on how their reforms can ensure people who lose their entitlements can be supported properly, as well as individuals or groups that should be exempt from the new requirements. Oh, I'll tell you how. You don't take it away from them, because if they can't go back to work, then they need the income, the entitlements to live. A consultation here is done before the measure is taken, says Jow. There is still quite a long gap between. There is still some time between now and a vote in Parliament before it even votes in Parliament, and then it's got to go through the whole scrutiny as well. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. So it's not yeah, it's not like, even though we're all against these changes, there's still not a foregone conclusion, because obviously a lot of Labour MPs are against the idea, but I fear as well that they could get enough votes from the Conservatives if a lot of Labour MPs rebel, simply because Conservatives want to see PIP cut as well. The proposed reforms will mean 800,000 people are blocked from receiving disability benefits, costing them an estimated £4,500 a year, according to the government's own impact assessment. Yeah, I've already kicked and screamed about this. Document estimates that the package of the changes will push 250,000 more people into poverty, including 50,000 children, which we've already covered as well, by 2029 2030. Changes to out-of-work sickness entitlements will lead to 2.25 million universal credit health elements UC health recipients losing £500 a year, and a further 750,000 future claimants will be blocked from claiming at all, costing them £3,000 annually. But this modelling does not include the impact of the £1 billion additional funding to support people who have health conditions into work. So Stephen Timms, Minister for Social Security and Disability, urged those likely to be affected by the changes to have their say by submitting responses to the consultation, either individually or via a charity. Excuse me. We want a system that generally works for disabled people and those with health conditions, as well as the country and the economy, and we want to hear their views and voices at the heart of the new system, Tim said. I encourage people to engage so they can have their say as we listen, learn and deliver support that will help millions into work, put welfare spending on a more sustainable path, and unlock growth as part of our plan for change. You keep going on about your bloody growth plan. Oh. So here it is here, guys. So where the consultations will be held, so they have Central London on this month on the 30th, so at the end of this month, so there's plenty of time for that if you're in London. In Manchester on Wednesday the 7th of May. They have one in Plymouth on Tuesday the 13th of May. Then we'll have one in Leeds on Wednesday the 21st. Central London again on the 29th of May. Then we'll have Glasgow on Tuesday the 3rd. Cardiff, my apologies, on Tuesday the 3rd. Then they'll be in Scotland on Tuesday the 10th of June there. They'll be in Birmingham on Wednesday the 18th of June. And then in Nottingham on Tuesday the 24th of June. I'm just going to see if I can... No, don't take me out of it. Can you open up another link for me? Just open the link up for me. Thank you. So what I'm going to do, because I haven't got that link for you guys. Oh, I can't, the link is too big. The link is so big, I can't even put it in the chat. Wow, that sucks. Well, what I'll do is I will put the link in the description now. I've just put it in the description. There you go. It's a box to see in the exercise. It says Alistair Keir. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Let me just have a quick look here. Excuse me. I was supposed to have muted. Sorry. Only visiting one Scottish city. Yeah, so this is the link, guys. From the government website. The link is in the description. Reforming benefits and support to get Britain people working green paper. So yeah, it looks like only Glasgow on Tuesday the 10th there. Looks like the only one for Scotland. Yeah. Only one for Scotland and one for Wales. Yeah. It looks like, yeah. You got London twice. They've only got one in the south, in the Devon area for Plymouth. So that's the only one that they'll have there. They've got two in the Midlands for Leeds and Birmingham at least. Or Nottingham, so they've got three there. They got one up in the north in Manchester. And they got two in central London. So if you're from like the Sunderland part or Newcastle, that part, or like you're deep in the southeast, you're not going to this event if you're deep in the southeast, unless you have to travel to one of these to get to attend. But I will just point out again, I think you can attend some of these online. Yeah, virtual events. So there's virtual events there. Share your views, specific part of consultations. So, so those are location and dates to sign up, and then there's consultations, virtual ones there. Documents as well. Interesting. When I'm a little bit better, I'll have a look, guys. But yeah, the link for that is in the description, guys, of the live stream, because I did just add it. You might need to refresh the stream for the link to appear for you guys, but you won't be able to put it in the chat because it's too big. Just wanted to let you guys know that there. Glasgow, Leapskin, not only Glasgow. It's a joke. Yeah, like the thing is that, like, I mean, we literally just saw, what was it? They said that it literally said in there, like, plans to change the eligibility for those receiving PIP and reforming assessments for disability and sickness welfare will not be consulted on. So it's just like that's the big thing that people are going to be wanting to talk about, and you're not allowing people to consult on that issue. Like what the F is basically what I'm thinking on that, because that's the main thing that people want. Probably being held in buildings without wheelchair access. I don't know about that, considering they're supposed to be. I mean, they are going to be looking to try and cut out a disability, so I'd be surprised if they didn't have that. Steve McMahon says the anxiety experienced by young people as a result of COVID and the disruption to their education has not been properly studied. It should be before those people are forced into work. Yes, 100% agree. Then there needs to be looked into this more. It does need to be looked into more. That is for sure, guys. Box ticketing exercise after the fact. Thank you for that, David. Dave McGinnis, appreciate that. Guys, we've just gone just roughly an hour. So, but before we head out, and I'll give you guys a rundown because this live stream went so much better than I expected. I didn't think I would last 20 minutes, so the fact that I've gone an hour is pretty impressive. But I wanted to at least, I had it here just in case if I did get all the way through, and by some miracle I have. So I'm very happy with myself considering how crap I've been feeling all day. I've got you guys a funny video that we will watch together. I haven't seen this one actually, so I'm very excited to see it. So I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I hope you guys get a laugh out of it either way. So here is, make sure I got to the right. There we go. From Matt Green, guys. A comedy is the headline, if are Trump's tariffs really that bad? Hope you enjoy, guys.
There's been a lot of talk about tariffs since President Trump made his announcement this week, but what does it all mean? Our economics bar charts and squiggly lines correspondent Jonathan Goodenough has more. Yes, that's right, the world was shaken this week by Liberace Day. Liberation Day? That does make more sense, but then why all the makeup? Donald Trump announced these tariffs by pointing to rows of numbers on coloured boards, a bit like a game show host from the 1980s, which in a sane world would be the height of his achievement. Sorry, carry on. So the big question is, what are these tariffs based on? Trump's boards of doom seem to say that each tariff was set at about half what that country charges American firms, which sounds fair enough. But was that actually true? Of course not. They're actually related to the trade deficit. What's a trade deficit? Well, basically, it's the balance of how much stuff the US buys and sells. Right? Think about it like this. If I buy some fruit from a greengrocer's, but they don't buy any television reporting from me, then I'm in a trade deficit with that greengrocer's. Okay? And Trump's tariffs are a bit like me charging them extra to sell me the fruit, to try and encourage me to grow my own fruit, or perhaps to encourage them to develop a taste for commissioning vox pops. That sounds a bit simplistic. Believe me, it's not as simplistic as Trump's calculations. In what way? The numbers basically make no sense, because even countries with a trade surplus, no significant trade, or even no human residents have been slapped with tariffs seemingly at random. Really? Yes, in fact, if you took the number of times President Trump's played golf in that country, then multiplied it by the number of times he's tweeted about it, then added the number of burgers he's had that day, and divided it by the number of presents he got from their prime minister, you're just about as likely to come up with an accurate figure. The Trump administration has called them reciprocal tariffs. What does that mean? Well, it's meant to be about matching the level of tariff that the other side applies, but in this case it's more like punching someone in the head after they've sold you some fruit, then punching yourself in the head and claiming that's a reciprocal relationship. Are you okay? I'm not allowed in that greengrocer's anymore. Markets have fallen sharply since the move, haven't they? Yes, all across the world, highly paid market analysts have been completely taken by surprise by the fact that Donald Trump did the thing he's repeatedly said he's going to do for years. Then why were they surprised? They thought he would never do something quite so stupid, which really suggests they haven't been paying attention. How has Trump reacted to the markets? He's telling people to stay calm and trust in the process, like an amateur bungee jump operator who smells of vodka. His supporters have also started calling the markets woke or left-wing, which has a familiar ring to it for people who remember Brexit or Liz Truss. So is this tariff strategy really as mad as some people are saying? Well, that depends on your perspective. From an economic point of view, it will almost certainly cause a recession and possibly even a depression, and it will devastate the lives of people all around the world, particularly in poorer countries, who surprisingly don't buy much stuff from richer ones. Right. But as a strategy of dominance and power, it may be effective. Trump is expecting countries and businesses to come crawling to him for exceptions and carve-outs, and there's nothing that Trump loves more than watching people beg. Speaking of which, how did Britain do? Well, as the UK actually has a trade surplus with the US, it was only hit with a 10% base tariff, which was hailed as a massive success for Keir Starmer's diplomacy, Brexit freedoms, or the special relationship, depending on your point of view. And which point of view is right? Probably none of them, but it won't stop anyone taking the credit. Thank you, Jonathan. Next up, as the tax year draws to a close, we ask, where are the best places for you to hold your new tax year's party? And how much silly string can you put on expenses?
Oh, coughed quite a bit, yeah, while listening to that, guys. Would like to go for the one in London. I definitely want to see one of his shows, Matt Green, but do check out his stuff, guys, under Matt Green Comedy. Excuse me. So just before I go, guys, excuse me. So I did manage to make it through this live stream. Now, whether or not, so tomorrow morning's one is kind of up in the air about how I would do. Like I said, I'm going to take night nurse tonight, see how I feel in the morning, and if if my cough has cleared a lot more than it is now, we'll do the more good morning with REGANELITE. If I'm not, then obviously I won't be doing it. As for live streams the rest of the week, we'll kind of just take it as it goes. I'll try to keep you guys posted as much as I can on my condition. But I will take precautions that I need to. Like I said, there'll be no main videos dropping, but you got short videos coming that I can do quite comfortably for you guys on the channel at least. So if you can, watch them, leave likes, comments on those videos. It'd be greatly appreciated if you can do that for me, guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it does suck that I can't do as much as I want to, but thank you guys all for coming out. I really, really appreciate it, despite me feeling like crap. And thank you guys for all your comments. And I haven't forgotten. Thank you, Steve McMahon, for that $5 New Zealand dollars. That's very kind of you, considering this was not on the level that I wanted myself to be. So I better wrap up before I go on another coughing spree. So if you haven't already, hit that like button, share across social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and take care. Have a wonderful week, guys. Stay safe as always, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.